innermost thoughts and transcribing them onto paper may sound like a fairly simple concept, but it's not. Otherwise, we would all be great writers. There have been a lot of great and talented boxing writers throughout the years, several of whom are already in our Hall of Fame. But there are not a lot who is versatile enough to not only do a great job covering our sport, but talented enough to cover other important events of our time, such as 9/11 and the fall of communism. Our next inductee is one such person. He was born in Ottoville, Ohio, on October 10th, 1950. As a child, the biggest sport that had an impact on him was not boxing, it was basketball. See, his grandfather was a legendary coach. His dad was a great player and a great assistant coach. And his mom was a heck of a scorekeeper. He did have a few pictures of fighters on his wall growing up, but the influence of the sweet science did not come along until he was an adult. After graduating college, he moved to South Florida and wound up working for a small newspaper in South Dade County. He was fired after a year because he was given an edict by the sports editor to stop covering African American athletes. That's the way it was at the time. His reply to that message was to actually increase his coverage of African American athletes. Yeah. Sense a bit of a rebel? Yeah, you got it. Before losing that job, he did develop a relationship with a promoter of small boxing shows, a gentleman named Ben Lonick, who you may remember had a fighter named Johnny Torres. He became a regular writer at the Homestead Armory shows. Eventually, in the early 70s, while working for the Miami News, he began to frequent the famous Fifth Street Gym on Miami Beach. Not only did he become good friends with Florida Boxing Hall of Famers Chris and Angelo Dundee, but according to him, also about half the guys that are already in our Hall of Fame. He covered all the Miami Beach fights in the 70s and would go anywhere in South Florida to cover boxing. Hialeah, Fort Lauderdale, you name it, he was there. Eventually, his editor began to send him on the road to cover big fights at Madison Square Garden and Las Vegas. In 1989, the Miami News unfortunately went out of business, and he returned to his native Ohio to work for the Dayton Daily News. He continued covering boxing on the road until the mid-2000s. He retired from writing full-time in 2016, but still writes 3 columns a week in Ohio. Some boxing, but a lot of sports like football, basketball, and hockey. The fighters he covered in his career included the great Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Mike Tyson, and Florida Boxing Hall of Famers Muhammad Ali, Roberto Duran, Alexis Arguello, and Aaron Pryor. His accolades have been many, including in 1989, winning the Nat Fleischer Award from the Boxing Writers Association of America, a career achievement for excellence in boxing journalism. The past may be the past, but luckily for us, we will always have his great words to help us remember. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame class of 2018, boxing writer and reporter, Tom Archdeacon. Congratulations.
Hi, folks. Well, hang on one second here. You know, I've been a sports writer for 45 years, a little more than that, and As he said, it's enabled me to travel all over the world and cover a lot of events, but there's nothing that I love more, and this is from the bottom of my heart, than boxing. Because of the boxers, first of all. They just have great courage and there's nothing like when everybody clears out of the ring and it's two guys. There's no pads, no timeouts, nothing. I've gotten to love the boxers. The spectacle, nothing beats a heavyweight title fight. And I guess the stories. The stories are tremendous. Your stories have carried me through a career. And so I take the love of boxing, and the other thing I love is there's no place dearer to my heart than South Florida. No place. And that's where I kind of got introduced to boxing. And it started out, I met all the big guys and spent a lot of time with Ali and Arguello and all those guys. But the guys that were dearest to my heart probably were the Johnny Torreses and Juan Arroyos and, Levi Forte, the battle in Bellman on Miami Beach, and all these different guys. That's where I met a lot of the people. Dwayne Simpson, his gym over at Tropical Park, and Pat Burns, another inductee today, did great for our kids in disadvantaged neighborhoods especially. Bill Connor, referee that's here today, was a great ref. And but the guy that really gave me an entree into everything was Chris Dundee. And Chris and Angelo, and he gave me free reign at his Fifth Street gym and at his shows. I mean, I'd be back there interviewing guys as they were walking to the ring. It's just, he let me do just about anything, and I got some great stories. And what I loved is the characters at his gym. You went up in the Fifth Street gym every day. It was like, that scene from like Star Wars, the bar where they got all those little weird characters. There was Sully at the door and Sellout Mo Flasher and Chappie Roberts and all these guys. I'll just tell you one story and then I'll sit down here. So, and this is why I love boxing. Sellout Mo Flasher, who's in your Hall of Fame, he was a great promoter and all this other stuff up in New York a long time ago. And so he gets a call one day and they say, Mo, he's in the gym. They say, Mo, down here in Jersey, we got a Jewish extravaganza, all Jewish boxing show, but we need a heavyweight. Do you have a heavyweight in your gym? And Mo looks over at Irish Johnny Curtin, old guy. He goes, I'm looking right at him. Young A.B. Cohen. He's a sensation. He's never been beaten. He's going to be on top of the world in no time. So they say, bring him on down, bring him down. So Mo and his wife take Irish Johnny Curtin on the train. They're headed over, and they take his green Irish trunks and sew a Star of David on the trunks. They then take a cork. He's got gray hair. They burned a cork, and they rub it into his hair to make his hair nice and dark. So they keep him in the dressing room, right? And then all of a sudden, they announce that this is the final of the night, and he comes out, and they introduce him, and then they bring in the opponent, and the opponent is like some stone-cold killer. He's never lost. And Irish Johnny Curtin goes, oh, my God, and he goes to his corner and kneels down and makes the sign of the cross and starts praying. and the Jewish crowd goes, what the hell is this? And so Mo never had a loss. He goes, well, his mother is Catholic, but his father is Jewish. So the first round starts, and this guy just knocks the hell out of Irish Johnny Curtin. And Mo gets so nervous in the corner, he dips a sponge in the bucket and puts it on his head, and all that cork black runs down his face. And so they had to make their run for the pay window and get out of town. So that's why I love boxing and all the other stuff. So that's it. And I'll tell you right now, I might look like Irish Johnny Curtin, but I'm feeling like A.B. Cohen. I feel on top of the world right now. And I got the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame to thank for that. What you all have done for our community is tremendous, and I speak for every one of us. I want to thank my wife, Kate, who's sitting in the back there. Being a wife of a sports writer can be a real pain in the neck. Although I'll tell you, she told me since I retired, she said, you know, our marriage was a lot better when you were on the road. And finally, the main thing I want to thank is every one of you, all the guys. There's my friends out here, Ramiro Ortiz, Julio Martinez, just Rene. There's just so many. I'll be missing somebody. Let me wait. I want to make sure I didn't. I just have a lot of friends out here, and I just want to thank you. Your boxing stories are what carried me through this. Thank you so much.
Happy anniversary, 10 years, the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. Thank all of you, or we wouldn't be here.